I'd like to call the Garden Grove City Council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Broadwater.
Here.
Councilmember Doe.
Here.
Councilmember Wynn.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones.
Here.
Mayor Dalton.
Here. Just for information, prior to this council meeting, we had a study session, council and for the agency. It was listed as a closed session, however, it was not. It was handled as a study session. Okay, we will have the invocation by Keith Jones, Public Works Director, and a Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Doe.
Be with us, O God, in all our enterprises. Purify our intentions, strengthen our purpose, and grant that in serving you, we may serve our community better. Amen.
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 Raise the flag of our nation and say the pledge with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I see we have a presentation.
Yes, we do, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like Keith Jones to make the presentation this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel. Tonight, the Garden Grove City Council presents the monthly business spotlight, highlighting the accomplishments of local business professionals. This evening, the spotlight shines on one of the city's most popular local restaurants. Would Tim Ibrahim, owner and proprietor of Carolina's Italian Restaurant, please come forward? Carolina's Italian Restaurant, located on the northeast corner of Chapman Avenue and West Street, has been a fixture in the Garden Grove community for 30 years. Customers love their Francescana sauce, a creamy meat sauce, but their house specialty is making every customer experience unique. Tim's first contact with the restaurant was at age 10, when he worked at Carolina's as a busboy receiving food in return for his work. As a newlywed 6 years ago, he and his wife, Mary, discovered the restaurant was for sale and jumped at the chance to become its new owners. Today, Tim, the oldest of 7 children, works alongside his family at the restaurant every day. While his sister, Emma, has been the most involved in the day-to-day operations, his entire family has contributed to making Carolina's one of Garden Grove's most popular restaurants. Early on in their ownership, Tim and Mary realized that owning a restaurant gave them an opportunity to serve the community in more ways than one. Over the years, they have helped raise money for various charitable organizations, local schools, and religious groups. In 2010, Carolina's held a fundraiser for the H. Lewis Lake Senior Center, where a percentage of the day's sales was donated to the center. They also partnered with the Garden Grove Fire Department's Spark of Love toy drive by offering discounts to contributing patrons. During the police department's CALEA conference last November, the restaurant gave out discounts to all 800 attendees. Tim has also donated to the city's rideshare fair and annual charity drives. He admits that he's never turned down a request for assistance from any organization. He's also been very involved in local community groups, such as the Garden Grove Pony Baseball, Garden Grove High School Football, the Elks Lodge, and many others through restaurant-supported fundraisers. Although free time is a rarity, Tim enjoys spending time off with his wife, watching movies, or going out to other restaurants to gain new ideas. At this time, the Mayor and City Council would like to present Tim with a certificate of recognition and gift as the February Business Spotlight honoree. Garden Grove salutes Carolina's Restaurant and Tim as an outstanding business and business owner in the community.
Okay, I want to, hold on a minute, let me get rid of this box. We still haven't figured out yet how we hand this to you and have the nice pictures and all, and then hand you the box and have you carrying it. Look like it's a juggling act. But anyway, we want to present this to you. And I just want to make one comment, too, that, you know, there are several events that occur throughout the city, whether it's Garden Grove Pride or there are a lot of them, that are opportunities for restaurants that they come in here and they provide food, and they do it at no cost. And that's one of the things that you do for the citizens of Garden Grove and for the city of Garden Grove. And I certainly thank you for it, because you truly, everybody says they give back, Not everybody really does, but you really do, Tim. So thank you very much. Turn around, hold this, and we'll get a picture taken. No, no, come back here. We'll get a picture.
Picture.
We want you in the picture, not just me.
Definitely.
2, 3. Take one more. 1, 2.
Hey, Tim, there's a microphone over there. We'd like you to say a few words.
I want to thank the entire council for this award. It's truly a pleasure. It's truly an honor. Thank you very much. I also want to thank the city for their patronage of my restaurant and the opportunity to receive an award. And hope to see you at Carolinas. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll have oral communications for the council and the agency. Peggy Bergen.
Peggy Bergen, 32-year resident. I think I came to town the same year Carolinas did. So that's a good recommendation for the city. But no, I actually went and looked over the agenda, and I couldn't see anything that I really just blew me away. So I just thought I had a few more things that just odds and ends to talk about. Well, one of them was, lo and behold, I was going through an old box of stuff, deciding what should be thrown away, which will make my children very happy. And I came across the local section, Wednesday, July 3rd, 2002, which was the week following the big redevelopment hubbub of that year, where our council at the time, Mr. Broadwater was the mayor, decided that they would cut back drastically on the amount of homes that would be taken to be put into redevelopment agencies and stick to the main streets as opposed to any residential areas. So all of us as citizens were very happy to understand that you would listen and understand where we as citizens were coming from. So that's a plus in your favor, that you actually can listen and you will follow through for us as the citizens. And now here's another one that I spent my weekend just driving around the city, looking at different things. And one of them was our newest group of houses, one of our two newest group of houses being built in Garden Grove. That's the ones on Fairview and Trask. So I went through my paperwork that I keep from these meetings, and on April 3rd, 2010, they were approved to build 20 houses on a 2.34, I believe it was, acre lot where they had taken out 4 houses on huge lots, of course. Well, I was amazed. All of a sudden, I drove by there about a week and a half ago, and those houses, half of them are totally complete and up for sale and ready to have people move in April to May. And I went to look at them on the weekend. They're called, I think, Palmini or something on that, Pomelo. And they were quite nice houses. They were very nice. My only complaint, once again, is they were very, very small lots. Very, very small lots. But then again, that's what they keep telling us we all want to live in. But what amazed me was that was approved by the city council. It had already been approved by the planning commission on April. That's not even 10 months ago. And those houses are halfway to completion, the whole development, where all of the things that seem to go through redevelopment and finagling with financing and us buying property and letting people buy it back from us and do that, it takes years. So why don't we let more people buy the property and decide to build now? So, and these houses are not cheap. They're not cheap. The cheapest ones are $449 and up. So that is not what I call a reasonable priced houses. And I also went to see the models on Palm and Garden Grove Boulevard on the weekend, and both people that you talked to when you went in the office, they were both very proud to tell me that none of these properties were affordable housing. So that's wonderful. We have over 140 units going into the city, which none of them can claim to be affordable housing. So those were kind of unusual things that I just came across in one weekend. But I also, this afternoon, I went, it's kind of my third funeral type reception within 10 days, so I'm kind of getting a little bit sick and tired of people I know dying. But it was for Gail Edens. And I don't know if any of you know her, but she was the Strawberry Festival Queen in 2007, which she was very proud of. And I believe at that age, she was 83 at the time. And up until last December, she was still volunteering at the senior center and doing other volunteer works throughout the city. An 80-year-old woman, and she always, as her granddaughter so beautifully put it, she never went anywhere other than being perfectly accessorized. She had accessories to go with every outfit she had, and she never came without her hair being done. She was a perfectly wonderful lady that volunteered in the city for, I think they said up to 60 years. So that's quite an accomplishment for the lady herself and the city. Her name was Gail Edens. And once again today, now I got something in the mail. Next Tuesday, today in this building, we are going to be having a mixed-use zoning community workshop and open house. So, anyways, that's just for all the citizens out there that might not know about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Robert Thill.
Hi, I'm Robert Thill. I work at Broadwater Insurance on Chapman Avenue, and I am addressing the council to help me support me and my son, who owns the building at 9421, to fight the medical marijuana situation next to our building. The reason I'm doing this is there's a daycare center 52 feet from this building, which they are open from 7 in the morning till 2 in the morning, selling marijuana. The people that are there are usually around 18 to 25 years old. There is a city ordinance that Garden Grove has implemented. It's 9.16.020.100, and it says medical marijuana dispensaries are prohibited. And I don't need to read it because you guys are aware of the ordinance. But I do need the city's support. I am going to litigate against the landlord because we've lost property value. We've had our building damaged. We just spent $25,000 remodeling to be a good location for Garden Grove. And I'm going to fight this by myself or with your help. I will write $20,000 to the council to support the litigation out of my pocket. This is extremely important, and it needs to stop. It has nothing to do with medicine. There's no controls. There's no medical people. And I've contacted a number of people. They also have it in Anaheim who they're fighting in litigation. These people are packing guns at the marijuana dispensaries, not in this one, but in Anaheim, and they're getting into locations where there's children, and it's becoming extremely dangerous. I think they say it's just pot, but they've run into our building loaded. They've driven out of there loaded. I don't think that anybody that had a child anywhere from 6 months to 14 years old wants to smell pot all day. So I've never been political. I've never done anything like this in my life, but this is important. I've called other city managers. They have got rid of them. They've ceased and desisted them. They went and bought the marijuana, then implemented the ordinance, and won. There are some cities who have no medical dispensaries. They didn't want me to tell them who I talked to, but there are cities real close by who have accomplished this. They do have city attorneys. I'm aware that Garden Grove doesn't have a city attorney, but I'm willing to put up $20,000. So I need you to back me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Did you file a complaint with the police department?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
And they are not licensed by the city of Garden Grove.
Okay.
And the city, and what's happened in this,
No, you
they-
answered my question. I just need to know.
okay, they've tied up the police can't do anything.
okay, thank you. You know, perhaps next council meeting, we can have a report. We can look into it in the meantime, but have the chief or his designee give us an update on where we're at legally and what avenues we're pursuing. And yes, we do have a city attorney. Okay, in fact, he's sitting right over there. So, okay. Okay, at this time, I will close oral communications, and we'll go to the agency.
Ms. Bailey, will you show everybody here for the agency? We've been through just about everything. Let's go to consent items.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Councilmember Doe?
Andrew, you didn't push, or it didn't.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay. I see nothing else on the agenda. Items for consideration from the agency members. I see nobody speaking up. At this time, we will adjourn the agency meeting and return on February the 22nd.
Okay, we'll reconvene the council meeting and go to consent items.
Mr. Mayor, before we do that, just for clarification, the closed session item listed for the council and the agency was not the study session. So I think we need to report that we listed the item, but we deferred that item.
Okay,
Just kind of a technical,
okay, thank you.
just close that correctly. You do have 2 consent items, and it's recommended that these items be acted on simultaneously.
Move the items.
Second.
Have a motion second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, public hearings.
Mr. Mayor, your public hearing tonight is considering an appeal of conditional use permit CUP 30910, and we have several staff members here to give a report on this, and Susan Emery will start the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Mr. Mayor and members of the council, tonight you are considering an appeal of a Planning Commission denial of late-night hour request for a restaurant applying for a CUP for a Type 41 ABC license. On December 16th, the Planning Commission reviewed the request from Ice Kiss, the restaurant requesting the CUP. The restaurant is located at 8516 Garden Grove Boulevard in a C1 zone and proposes to serve or to operate serving food, dessert, coffee, and alcohol. The business is consistent with conditionally permitted uses found in C1 zones, and staff is supportive of the operation. However, the restaurant is requesting late-night closing hours until midnight, 7 days a week. Staff recommended to the Planning Commission that the closing times be 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday to be consistent with other restaurant closing hours in the city. The Planning Commission, as I said, denied the applicant's request of closing times at 1 a.m. initially, and then again a request for the midnight closing time. There are several issues related to the late-night closing hours that staff would like to discuss with you this evening. I'll be reviewing the issues related to past city practices and land use, and the Police Department, both Chief Rainey and Sergeant Leyva, will provide additional comments and perspective as well. First, staff wants to assure the City Council that we strive to support businesses in the community and see that they are successful. The purpose of CUPs is to set forth goals and operating standards that are reasonable, enable the business to operate competitively, and provide minimal impacts to the surrounding community. For many years, staff evaluated new CUP applications by the twin standards of undue concentration and crime rate for each census tract. If the crime rate was high or the number of licenses in a tract exceeds the ABC recommended limit, staff usually recommended denial of the application. This approach was a management tool for addressing potential police and land use issues for many years. However, in March of 2009, we reevaluated our practice at a study session with the City Council. The City Council supported the concept of addressing problem businesses or issues with administrative citations. This was a positive approach to permit new businesses that had no history of problems and at the same time allow staff to address violations of CUP conditions in a meaningful way that would gain business compliance. Due to the large number of new businesses that could gain CUPs, staff recommended a standard set of conditions be applied that would help in policing these restaurants. One of these conditions was consistent closing hours for businesses to assist the police department in their staffing. Since 2009, staff has received 23 requests for CUPs with alcohol, mostly Type 41 requests. All of these but two, Artist Restaurant and Romano's, which is now something like a boiling crab, have standard closing times of 10 and 11 p.m. Thus, the recommended closing times for Ice Kiss are consistent with what was discussed in March 2009 and the practice that has been applied to business since. Secondly, there is a particular land use issue with Ice Kiss and the neighboring homes that is problematic. The site is Zone C1, which is the most protective commercial zone in the city. Typically, you will see C1 zoning where single-family homes abut a commercial area. The goal of this zone is to limit minimal harmful impacts to the adjacent residents in terms of noise, traffic, crime, or any other potential issue. The homes to the south of Ice Kiss business are located within 47 feet of the business parking lot. Late night hours of operation, such as a midnight closing time, combined with customers who may have been drinking, may seriously disturb the peace and comfort of the residents. Loud voices, car engines, and lights of vehicles are disruptive to the residents and potentially cause land use conflicts. Typically, you will find restaurants with later closing times, which are also selling alcohol, located in C2 zones that are further away from single-family home neighborhoods, so they are not disruptive to them. The staff report includes photos of the restaurant and the neighboring homes, so you have a sense of the close proximity and the potential land use conflicts. I'm now going to turn the presentation over to Chief Rainey for his remarks.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. As Ms. Emery described, beginning March of 2009 at a City Council study session, the Police Department no longer protested many ABC or CUP applications due to Rules 61.3 or 61.4 of the ABC regulations discussing high crime rate or overconcentration of existing ABC licenses within geographic districts. This decision was to support the city philosophy of promoting new businesses within the city of Garden Grove. Also, a standard set of hours was proposed and approved in order to not negatively impact police calls for service or the peace and quiet of surrounding residential neighborhoods when they abutted proposed business locations. Additionally, consistency in hours placed all the businesses on a level playing field, and extended hours did not give any specific business an undue advantage. Sergeant Leyva is going to present specific information as it relates to the applicant business. I would just like to put the applicant business location in its proper perspective geographically in respect to the police department. The proposed business is located on the south side of Garden Grove Boulevard between Beach Boulevard and Newland. From a police perspective, the applicant business is located in reporting District 65. District 65 for the entire year of 2010 had the single highest crime rate of any police reporting district in the city of Garden Grove. Additionally, District 65 also had the highest crime count in 2009 of any district within the city of Garden Grove. The police reporting districts that encompass Garden Grove Boulevard from Beach to Brookhurst are Districts 65, 75, 85, and 95 on the south side of Garden Grove Boulevard. The north side of Garden Grove Boulevard from Beach to Brookhurst include Districts 64, 74, 84, and 94. 6 of these 8 reporting districts all have an ABC crime count more than 20% of the average. Prior to March 2009, there's a very strong possibility the police department would have protested the issuance of an ABC license to the applicant business based solely on the high crime count, not only in the district in which the applicant business is located, but also considering the high crime rate in the adjacent area. We are not protesting the issuance of the ABC license. We are just asking that the hours for this business be limited to correspond with the crime concerns that are occurring in the immediate area. Officers assigned to this area are being tasked to identify some of the root causes for the high amount of crime in this district in order to reduce the frequency of crime. I would prefer, as chief, to have the officers focus their attentions on this issue rather than having to police potential conditional use permit violations, which could arise from extended hours, especially with the applicant business being located so close to residents. I'd like to turn the presentation over now to Sergeant Leyva.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, like Chief Rainey stated, this restaurant is in District 65. In 2009, it was 206% above the average crime rate. In 2010, it was 203% above the average crime rate. It has been the busiest district in the entire city of Garden Grove for 2 years in a row. And the crimes varied between drugs, alcohol, violence, sex crimes, etc. This is obviously a concern for the police department because a lot of our resources are already being used in addressing the issues in this district. In 2010, there were 1,581 incidents, 225 arrests, and 177 citations. Again, that's only in District 65. And like Director Emery stated, this business is approximately 50 feet away from a residential tract. There is a high likelihood that late hours of operation combined with alcohol will create a disturbance for the residents and generate complaints for the police department. There was an independent study done by Clue and Associates out of Berkeley, California, that discussed the correlation between crime and alcohol establishments. And we learned a few things from this study. We learned that 10% of alcohol outlets account for 50 to 60% of calls. As the night gets later, calls for service also increase. There's also something we see in a result, could be a result of the economy, but it's something we call morphing. This is when restaurants behave like bars. They go from a low-risk eating establishment to a high-risk drinking establishment. And when I say risk, that's as far as generating calls for service. As it gets later in the night, entertainment and alcohol tend to be the main attraction as opposed to just good food. And like Director Emery stated, we want businesses to be successful, but we've also worked very hard in attempting to stay consistent with our standard hours of operation for Type 41 ABC licenses. That's Sunday through Thursday, open until 10 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, open until 11 p.m. And Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, something I think is very important to remember is that conditional use permits run with the land. So this applicant may be the best business owner in the entire city. However, if for some reason this business is unsuccessful, or she strikes luck and wins the lottery, we may not be so lucky, and we may get an irresponsible business owner with late hours of operation, alcohol, and all this, just 50 feet away from a residential tract. And that concludes our staff report, and we're available to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
Is there a menu in this staff report somewhere?
I'll check and see for you.
Okay.
How many Type 48 licenses are in this area?
41?
48.
48?
How many Type 41 licenses? is
No, how many Type 48
48
licenses?
licenses.
Do we have any?
Not since 2009. I can't think of any, I'm sorry. There's going to be one on the south side of Garden Grove Boulevard, just east of Beach Boulevard, called the Frat House, which is a Type 48. So there's one within a half mile that I can think of off the top of my head.
Is there any Type 48 in Korean Town?
I'd have to do the research and get back to you on that.
Okay.
Of the two Type 41 establishments that have extended hours, is either one of them in District 65?
No, they're the two that I mentioned in my report. Romano's is on Harbor. It was. It's the European that we talked about. It's
Right,
the European
okay.
American Center, and the other is Artis, and that's about Brookhurst and 13th Street.
Okay.
Councilmember Broadwater, I'm not finding a menu in the packet, but perhaps the applicant has one with them. I don't see one here.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes. Also in the staff report, there's a section that says that 10% of the crime rate Of the 10% of the crime rate, 50 and 60% comes from the alcohol establishment. Is that from Clue, or is that exactly from that area?
No, that's a result of the Clue study.
Because from the report, it seems like it's from the area.
And that accounts for 50 to 60% of calls as they pertain to alcohol outlets, not necessarily every police call for service.
Yes, Mr. Doe.
I don't have any questions. I just
okay.
Just one quick comment. You addressed a lot of the questions I have, and I commend the police department and also Director Emery for a very thorough presentation of the facts. It really helps my deliberation on this issue. So before we take a vote, I just want to make sure I get
Okay,
that
I'm going to open the public hearing now then.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I did find a menu, and I'll walk it over for you.
Okay. Okay, do you want to see this? Okay, if there's no other questions for staff at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Jerry Margolin.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. I feel like a criminal because I'm supporting this project, and when I do support a project, I always look at the record and I look to see if it's something I could live with. I was on the Planning Commission for 12 years, and I think I've always voted in favor or against whatever I thought was best. Doesn't mean I win, but it means that at least I look at it thoroughly. And some of the, I think the police department just does one heck of a job, for the record, and I work with them. Strawberry Festival, I think it's one of the best in the world, and so I am not certainly laying on anything like that. I'm doing it because I support the project. Ice Kiss is a new business, relatively. The crime report over there was basically on 2009 and 2010. There was an adult bookstore there also, and it created a lot of crime problems. And that adult bookstore no longer exists. That's one point. There are, on my numbers, and I can't guarantee they're correct, I think the applicant can possibly tell you or not, I have 5 restaurants that are open till 12 and 1 a.m. in that area. I think if they all were at 10 p.m., I wouldn't be standing here. But there are 5.
Which are they, by the way?
I have the record. It's BU, and they may be out of the area. I don't know, but that's what I got. It's BU Dale.
Spell it for me, please.
Yeah, me too. BYULD is one word, DAE. They're at 8295 Garden Grove Boulevard. Chulsune Polka. CHULSUNE. The first one was till 2 a.m. The second one is at 1 a.m. The Flower Pig Barbecue, I want to run over and eat there, I'll tell you. 8303 Garden Grove Boulevard, they're open till 2 a.m. Min Sok Chon, 9252 Garden Grove Boulevard, number 29, they're open till 12 a.m. Now, those are the numbers that I have. I can't guarantee you anything other than I asked her to be very careful and let me know the truth. Are there any, others there?
Where did you get this information
I
from?
got it from Mrs. Yee, who is the owner.
Okay.
And I
From
asked
the
her
proponent?
Pardon?
From the proponent, then, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and I asked her to please, obviously, be careful and tell the truth, because I don't want, for my own business, I don't want to be involved in anything like that. So there are 5 in that area. She's at 8516, so they're not really far away. In addition, as I said, the 2009 and 2010 were very heavily impacted by the bookstore. the neighbors, there is a handicapped adult residential home there, and they have submitted a letter to us to support the project because they feel that by staying open a little later, then they will have more light in that area. At one time, they had blocked off that area, and then they took it out because they didn't need that. So I also have a petition which includes the owners of that house, which is the closest, I believe it's the closest house to the place. It's a gorgeous place. It is very attractive. It doesn't attract that kind of people, those kind of people in my mind. And what I saw over there, it's just a very, very pretty place. It's facing, as you know, when you have 5 other places around there, it's facing very big competition. So that is why I'm supporting it. And I have the petition and also it includes the nearest building because, as I said, they think it would be a help and not a handicap. In addition, it did have, I understand, I wasn't there, but at the Planning Commission, there was something stated that there was never a CUP there, but there was a CUP there for a long time, and Mr. Ahn, who is going to speak after me, is the manager of the building, and he has the paperwork. I don't know if it's important or not, other than it was said there was never a CUP there, but there was, and he has that information. With no bar and the food competition, the competition is enormous. And anything we can do for them, and I don't approve of those things. I mean, even if it was a 6-month, let's see if it causes anything. But the biggest problem in that district is gone, and they are facing the competition. I think I would like to give you that information. They would like to be open till midnight from Sunday to Saturday. As I said, it goes anywhere from midnight to 2. They'd be happy to do anything they could would give them some extra help. But they are facing that competition. So, how do they face that competition? As I understand it, the Korean community likes to eat late in many cases, and the one who is there that has alcohol, and the alcohol is beer and wine. There is no interest in hard liquor at all. And that's basically what I have. So if you don't mind, and I think he's next. Anyway.
I have his card, yeah, I'll be calling him, yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
That's what I have.
Could I ask this gentleman a question? Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes, go ahead.
Are the 3 adult bookstores across the street still there and still open?
I don't know, because I only
And you
knew
did
the
a
one
survey of the
that
rest of it.
closed. Well, no, I asked Mrs. Yee to give me a list of those, and I trusted that list to
And
be
how long has it been
honest.
currently open?
The restaurant?
Yeah.
It's open without beer or wine at this point. How long has that been open? Well, do you want her to come up? Do you want the owner up?
He'll be up in a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead if you have any questions for Mr. Markowitz.
Well, we just wait for the owner.
Okay.
Okay.
Either way.
Well,
Okay.
I'm going to bring up this, oh, now you.
Go ahead.
you
Yeah,
bring
I'll
it
call him up.
That's-
Have a seat, please. Ill on.
Hi.
Oh.
Yeah, my name is Il An. I'm a building management broker. I started like in 2009, and actually, as he said earlier.
Excuse me, could you please come closer and get the microphone a little
I'm
closer
sorry.
to you? That's better, thank you.
Thank you. First of all, that list he mentioned, and we turned that list to the city last time, and they did research, and they did found there's a few restaurants still open, 1 or 12 or 1 or 2, and they did say that. And the last time we also, at this point, I would like to point out, see, those old restaurants open 1 and 2 a.m. If someone buys it, they cannot change to 10 to 11 because they bought it from the original owner. They have to give same hour. So that's what they still have a problem with that. The city mentioned that last time. And so someone who knew, trying to do, and actually, matter of fact, this premise actually had a liquor license, not a liquor license, a beer and wine license since 1988. But city, there was no CUP. They couldn't find it. I don't know what happened. And they said we never had but I do have. I got this output from ABC since 1988. There was a 4-time transfer, 4-time change of owner. So actually, there was a little problem. See, some people trying to do now, they have to stick with the 10 to 11 regular hours. But how many people can have a late dinner these days? A lot of people actually not only eat 7 o'clock. So let's say some restaurant opens till 12, some restaurant close at 10. If you go in at 9 o'clock, where are you going to go? And this tough time, actually, economy is really bad. And right now, they just open for almost like 4 months without the beer license. And actually, there's not many customers. Because since the last business was there was like a year and a half ago, 2009, I think January, it was closed. So since then, the area was really dark. And actually, there was a lot of vandalism was there. Some people draw the stones on the window. But as soon as the ice kids start fixing the area, put the lights and all that, actually those people's gone. There's no more vandalism there. And there is, until that point, there was a lot of, some people, there's some traffic. There's like some car goes behind the building, and they were doing something in the corner lot. So, and we put the spotlights on there, and actually not anymore. There's no more car traffic in the behind the lot. So it does help. I don't know. I understand your study research saying that, this 65 area has highest crime rate, but that particular area, I think, is getting better because of this business is there. Without the business, actually, it was more collecting, bad things in there. But the point there was two things. There's the new business owner trying to survive. Let's say you start to 10 to 11, and if she can't make it, and she's going to close it again, and it's going to get darker again, I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to get returned. It gets more worse. I think there is a certain way to developing area better is sometimes put more business in, make that area brighter, and more people's traffic. That will remove some bad things going on there. That's my opinion. So, and another thing is the noisy and all those things is the Ice Kiss, the restaurant, is such that it's very quiet. There's no loud bars, live music, no entertainments. It's more likely it's young people's gathering places. Have you ever seen those, like not teenager, but 20s people, what time is their active hours? Their active hours is not 7, 6. Their active hours is 9, 10. And they wants to get together with their friends. And where are they going to go? And this Ice Kids has another branch, is successfully open in downtown LA. And they had no problem with it. So she's trying to make another second branch here to make success on that kind of giving a very comfortable environment, atmosphere, so a lot of young people can come in, talk, and they discuss their studies or whatever. And they are providing like some internet options there too. So actually it's not like a live entertainment bar, dancing, nothing like that. So I don't know. I respect the city's research and all those crime rates and all that. Trying to reduce crime rate, close all those stores down, then maybe then is that going to be, crime's going to go down? All those beer and wine or liquor license, close it down, then is that going to clear all those crime rate? It's still going to be there. And my idea is here, she's trying to do better business, and she can somehow give some kind of her best effort to open and success on this business. Maybe next time she's going to be on a business spot, as this gentleman, Carolina restaurant had it, so she can do same thing, just like him. I'm sorry, maybe I was very rude or something. Please understand my English is a little short. So if you have any question, I can answer it.
Go ahead, Ms. Nguyen, you wanted to.
Is the owner here?
Owner?
Yes. Is she here?
Yes, business owners here.
Can you ask her to come up? Because I think I have a couple questions just
sure,
for
sure.
her.
But she has a little problem.
You can help her.
Okay.
Mr. An,
Yeah,
thank you.
Song-hee.
Mr. An, if you could ask her. I noticed that on the menu, it's a menu of mainly desserts, and I'm just curious. They don't have a Type 41 license now. They're applying for it. Okay, I'm curious if she could explain a little bit about maybe the culture or why she thinks the Type 41 license would help her business, because I normally don't see a dessert business go hand in hand with alcoholic beverages.
디저트 비즈니스라고 그러시는데 디저트 비즈니스에 왜 타입 41 라이선스가 도움을 줄 수 있을 거라고 생각하느냐.
내 생각에는 뭐 음식도 먹고 디저트도 먹고 하면서도 가볍게 와인이나 뭐 이렇게 칵테일 같은 거를 마시면서 젊은 사람들이 얘기하고, 또 저희는 젊은 사람뿐이 아니라 나이 드신 분들도 와서 드시고 디저트도 드시고 한 곳에서 다 해결할 수 있는 그런 곳을 하고 싶어서 그래요.
그게 ABC가 헬프를 할 수 있는다고 생각하느냐는 얘기를
네.
물어보시죠. Okay, what she said is, she said it's a one place everybody can come, not only young people and old people. They can come this restaurant and eat food, eat dessert, and maybe have some wine, all in one place, so they can enjoy, not to move from one place to another to get another next dessert or something.
All right, and then the business she has in L.A., is it exactly the same, and does she also has a Type 41 license there?
이 라이센스는 없죠.
거기는 없어요.
She doesn't have it there.
She has another business, correct?
Yes, exactly same name,
왜냐면 거기에는 이 쿡이나 이런 거 할 수 있는 그런 장소가 그게 없어요. 예, 그릴이나 이게 없기 때문에 하고 싶어도 할 수가 없었어요. 그래서 제가 그것을 할 수 있는 곳을 찾다가 가든그로브에 좋은 장소가 있어서 제가 이 장소를 택하게 됐어요.
Okay. The one in LA, its name is Ice Kiss. It's the same name. But she was trying to get that license, but it has to be eating place, which has to have a grill and all those cooking places. But that particular place does not, is inside a building, does not have any cooking facility.
Does it have a Type 41 license?
No.
Okay. And then my last question, Mayor, if I may. Is there any other business like this in Koreatown in Garden Grove right now?
이런 비즈니스가 코리아타운에는 있느냐, 아니면 가든그룹이나 코리아타운에 있느냐 하는 거, 이거 똑같은 게 비슷한 게.
다른 비즈니스 이름으로요? 아니면 아이스키스로?
아니, 다른 비즈니스 이름으로. 다른 비즈니스 생각나시는 게 있어요?
아니죠. 이쪽 가든그룹.
Okay.
가든그룹은 내가 잘 모르겠어요.
코리아타운은
많이
Okay.
있어요.
There is a lot in Koreatown, but not in the Garden Grove.
Let me ask you a question. How long has she had the business in Los Angeles?
How many?
6년.
6 years.
6 years? But you said that she didn't have a liquor license.
No.
So she doesn't serve alcohol.
In that Ice Kiss.
And she doesn't cook because you said she doesn't have a stove or a grill or anything.
Yeah, that's why she couldn't get a...
What does she serve there?
Oh, that's just a food with pre-cooked food. So now that's what she wants to move in this location so she can grill it and she can cook it and she can have a 41 license.
Okay, what's the address of the business in Los Angeles?
Which address? This is the 6th Street.
Yeah, 6th Street and Katrina?
Katarina and 6th Street.
You don't know the address of the
Exact
business?
address.
3417 West 6th Street?
3417 West 6th Street?
That's correct.
And she's had that 6 months?
6
years.
years.
Well, 6 years and no liquor license?
No.
Okay. That's, you said that you have or are going to put lights in the alleys and everywhere?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have them in now?
Excuse me?
The lights, you said it lights up the area.
Yes.
Have you put the lights in yet?
Yes, throughout the whole.
They're on now.
Yes.
What time do they go off at night?
5:30
Well, no. What time go off?
꺼지는 거요?
Yeah.
2시.
About 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, if you're concerned about the safety, I would think you'd leave them on 24 hours a day, or at least during dark hours.
Yes, true, but then she also needed concern about electrical bill. That's why.
그다음에 그
Yeah.
카메라 있는 거.
Yeah, and she also installed the security camera. It's all throughout the building. You can see it. Yeah, she
6개
can
있어요,
record it.
6개.
6
Six
security
cameras, yeah.
cameras.
And do they go off at 2 o'clock or 3 in the morning
No, the
also?
camera is 24 hours.
Okay, and do they, is it taped, what goes on there?
Yes.
For what period of time?
It's like 1 month. It's just a
So you have
memory.
one tape, and you tape for 1 month on one tape?
No, it's in a hard disk.
Okay.
A memory hard disk. Its capacity is tape 1 month, like action, and then it start deleting the old one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I know some other people have some questions. Who wants to go next? Go ahead.
Not of the applicant. Not of the applicant.
Okay. Does anyone have any more questions of the applicant? Well, I have one for staff while we're talking here. Then the applicant can sit down, I guess. Well, unless you need a translation. Have you looked into these restaurants and the times of closing?
Yes, sir. Actually, for Planning Commission, this same list was provided, and of the 5 locations, 4 of them had arrests for alcohol-related crimes. 4 of them had arrests for sales of alcohol to minors, And the interesting thing is, 3 of the locations had drunken public arrests, which were all made after midnight, which, in my opinion, is consistent with the Clue report. As the night gets later, calls increase.
But do we know if these restaurants that are supposed to be staying open till 10 or midnight or whatever it is are really staying open till 2 or later?
There are a few on the list that are open late, and they're very old CUPs. 2 are from 2000.
Well, I guess my question, to make it easy, I'm sorry, is, are there any of them that, if this list is accurate from the information that they got, that are violating the CUPs they have in place?
Are you talking about violation of the hours?
Yeah.
I think there's 2 different things. The ones that I referenced are all of the ones since 2009 when we went to the policy of standard hours. And I think the ones they're referencing are older CUPs when we didn't have those hours. So they're probably subject to later hours. Their CUP probably allows them to be open. Because they're between.
They're legal is what I'm
They're
getting
legal,
at.
and they may have been adopted between 95.
Because I'm not sure if any of these are illegal. I'm sure that you would, at this point,
We could use the administrative
ascertain
citation
and
laws.
take any action necessary. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Duff.
Okay, I didn't know that the response to my earlier question was actually restricted to post-2009 CUPs as far as the hours. I asked if there were establishments of the Type 41 license that have extended hours, and I thought I was told there was none in this district, but apparently there are.
I don't believe there are in this district. There's a possibility there may be some citywide because they're older CUPs.
Oh, I'm talking about the list that was given to us, the 5 locations. Aren't they in this district?
Yes, some of these do have later closing hours, and they're older CUPs.
Okay, all right. So then now I need to clarify then the response that was given to me. Regardless of when the CUP was issued, how many of these establishments of the Type 41 license have extended hours? Do you know?
I don't know offhand.
No, it would take a lot of research. I think what staff's referring to and what the applicant provided is a list of 5 in the area of Garden Grove Boulevard. I believe a lot of these are on the north side of the street near Fern and Garden Grove Boulevard, which do have later hours pursuant to older conditional use permits. But given the fact that staff's had roughly 24, 28 hours to try to research this, we can go back to 2009 because it takes reviewing each and every CUP. And so we were able to look at the 18 conditional use permits for Type 41s just in the last day and a half. But we'd have to go back and do, really exhaustive research to look citywide as to any 41 that may have a 20-year-old conditional use permit.
Maybe not citywide, but I think within a reasonable proximity to the applicant's location, I think it would be fair for me to at least get that information. Because frankly, I was working under the assumption that there was no extended hours for 41 establishment. But apparently there are, and I would like to know how many.
There are, Councilman. I think the point that I was trying to make in the presentation was that in previous policy, when we were looking at undue concentration in crime, then when we had a high crime district like this particular one, the staff recommendation was for denial. But 2 years ago, we decided there were individual applicants like this applicant themselves that were having alcohol licenses denied to them just based on the fact of the crime rate or the undue concentration. So we opened it up to allow anyone to come in, but in exchange for that, we went with the consistent hours to help with the policing.
So the recommendation from staff then is to grant the CUP, but to limit it to the consistent hours.
Right. Yeah, and so that's why you can see of the 17 or 18, I think, that we talked about, with the exception of 2 on the Type 41s, with the exception of 2, they all have the standard hours since 2009, which has helped with the policing of the area.
Okay.
I didn't notice one thing, and I wanted for clarification. This establishment, or this location they're talking about, is in the area east of Dale on Garden Grove Boulevard. 3 of these locations here well, 2 of these locations are as far east as past Gilbert Street. So I know that they're, these are not even in the district. I don't remember the breakdown on the district from 65 or whatever to 75, but I know some of these aren't that close to that location at all. 9872 is closer, it's east of Gilbert, closer to Brookhurst. And 9732 is also east of Gilbert, closer to Brookhurst.
If it's east of Gilbert, then it's,
I'm sorry?
not in the district then, because
No,
the district
no, at
ends
least-
at Magnolia.
If
At least, go ahead.
I can give them to you real quick, I believe, just going from memory. 8295 Garden Grove Boulevard is going to be in District 64, which is across the street from the applicant District of 65. 9732 Garden Grove Boulevard is going to be in District 95. 8303 Garden Grove Boulevard is going to be in District 64. 9872 is going to be in District 95. And 9252 is going to be in District 85.
Yeah, so this, yeah,
Three of them are about a mile
yeah,
east of.
okay. Go ahead, Mr. Jones, you have any questions, or
No
any
more.
more? Anyone?
Yeah, well, I do. I have several
Go ahead.
questions. First, starters, just a point of clarification. Coming into the meeting tonight, Planning Commission had ultimately, despite a failed substitute motion or that sort of thing, but Planning Commission ultimately approved this under the standardized hours. Is that correct?
Well, the staff
Like the motion that-
recommendation was to approve the standardized hours. The applicant requested later hours. I'm not going to be sure I remember exactly how all the motions went down, but there was a recommendation to come in at 12 o'clock closing time, and that was denied on a 2-2. And I think that was the only request of the applicant at that point. So that was what they actually took action on.
Well, okay. I just read the minutes, and I was trying to clarify what I read in the minutes, but it seems like there was an original motion to approve it under the standard hours, which was 10 to 10 and 10 to 11 on Friday and Saturdays. And then there was a substitute motion to extend the hours later. That failed on a 2-2. And then the original motion was considered and passed unanimously. So I think coming into tonight, it's approved under the standardized hours, and they're appealing to ask for later.
That's
Right.
correct.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Somebody say that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that was question number one. Regarding the applicant's reference to a previous entitlement or a previous CUP, or maybe it didn't have a CUP because it was older and that sort of thing, do you have knowledge of what that was for and how long ago that was? And
On the premises of that particular site,
yeah,
there was, in the minutes, something barbecue. The police chief probably remembers all these, or the mayor, from the mid-'80s. And then there was a Tofu Village restaurant, and our records didn't show a CUP, but showed an ABC license. So it's the question of the continuous occupancy. So if there's a continuous occupancy, then they would not have had to apply for a new CUP.
and that's what, it's like a period of 18 months or something, right? If it sits unoccupied for 18 months, is that the right number?
I don't know if we have
or
an
is it-
exact time.
30
Yeah, I think it's
days.
30 days.
Oh, 30 days. And did it sit there for longer than 30 days, I presume? And
Yeah, so then if this space was vacant longer than that, then when they came in, that would no longer be in effect.
Mr. Brewer. Oh, I'm sorry.
If they were to get this permit that they're asking for this evening, and they decided to sell the property in 3 months, sell the business in 3 months, does that what we give them tonight transfer to the new owner?
It would transfer to the new business, the CUP.
Okay.
I just have one comment to make. I'm not sure I understand. I know that she's had a business in Los Angeles for 6 years, but doesn't sell alcohol. So if you've had that for 6 years, obviously alcohol is not the driving force for you to be able to make a profit or not. I mean, that's Jerry. That's okay. Anyway, I just want to make the comment. I mean, if I were going into business, I have a difficult time seeing how successful the other one is, unless maybe I'm misunderstanding something. I'm not sure. But the cure-all is not always a liquor license, as a lot of people find out, because those businesses come and go, even if they have competitive hours with others. So.
If I can have make a
Yes,
comment.
please.
Yeah. As a business owner myself, I certainly empathize with the struggle of the applicant as a business owner. But sitting here as a decision maker, I have to respect the wisdom that led to the policy and practice that was put in place. If we make exceptions on a willy-nilly basis, then there is no policy. There would be a race for people to come in and ask for exceptions on every case. And so I have to look at the policy that was implemented and could only find exceptions if there's a compelling reason to do so. Mainly, the one that I focus on first and foremost was a matter of consistency. If the policy was consistently applied to other businesses or other applicants, and if that is followed and is even-handedly applied, then there's no reason to change it. And that's what I see here. And so I'm going to vote to deny the appeal. And I think that the fact that we have these examples that are not really relevant to this particular district, that is important to focus on. And I think that the clue study and statistics from the latest 2 years really bear out the relationship between certain establishments and crime. And I think that any suggestion that an increase in crime in a particular area can be attributed to one particular business, whatever business that may be, that might be a bit of a reach. And so we have to be careful in making that assumption. So right now, there is really no evidence to counter the policy that we have put in place. And so for that reason, I would deny the appeal.
Okay, that's your motion?
Yes.
Okay. I'll second that motion.
Okay, I'd just like to say that competition, in my opinion, is not a good reason to issue a liquor license that doesn't fit into our policy. The competition, the person going in business, they know what the competition is before they go into business. I think that we're granting them a liquor license with the shorter hours, and it doesn't mean they can't come back a year from now and talk to us about it. But I think that you need some time in there to see what's going to happen before we give you those longer hours. And I'm not even sure that I'd give them then, but we'd certainly take a look at it. I like what I heard from the police department about alcohol-related incidences, because you used to talk about how many crimes were in a certain area. Well, if you were next door to a big department store, all the theft from the department store counted as a crime, so it really didn't work that way. So they said alcohol-related incidences. I think that's really good. I am not going to support this. I think that we ought to be very, very mild in our liquor licenses, especially these small ones, because they end up being beer bars is what they end up being. And telling me that it's going to be a younger crowd, that doesn't excite me too much. I would rather hear an older crowd, that it's not going to get in so much trouble. So I am going to decline it also.
Any comments?
Yes.
Please.
As far as the ABC license, once it's been given by the ABC department, I don't think we have much to say about that, but we do have a lot to say about how you can use your ABC license. And when I first reviewed the application, I thought it was an ongoing Type 41 license already. But now having reviewed it closer, and it's one that is to be initiated if we deny it today and you would go with the approval from the Planning Commission, then it tells me that the business haven't operated with the license yet, and so the city will need an opportunity to observe how the business will run with the recommended time from the Planning Commission. I saw the extensive improvement that the owner has put into the business, and from observing the area and the culture of the area, it doesn't look like it's an establishment that's going to turn into a bar type, because it has a lot of glass and very visible to the public. It's not enclosed. And I didn't see any oppositions from the neighbors regarding the hours. But like I said, the non-opposition is from a time that you didn't have the alcohol license. So now we need to observe, once you operate under an alcohol license, what will be the reaction of the neighbors surrounding the business. And also, I don't think your request from the Planning Commission, another hour, is very far or extreme from what's recommended. But the only issue I have is that we haven't had the opportunity to observe it yet. So we do need that opportunity. And once we've had a certain time to observe the business and to see if there's any opposition to it, then you can come back and request for us to look at it again. And I think currently we don't allow them to come back and put another application for a whole year. Is that correct? If we deny the application?
We, if it's denied?
If it's denied.
Outright denial. I wasn't sure if you're talking about our practice with the 47s, or when somebody wants to get,
If we deny the time today and uphold the Planning Commission's decision, then how long before can they come back and ask for us to review the time again?
Technically, we're not having a denial of a conditional use permit. It's upholding what the Planning Commission has done. So whatever reasonable time that the city would want to entertain this again, the applicant could come back and ask for a revision to the hours.
Okay, so I'm very comfortable with that. So after a certain amount of time, you can come back to the city and say, we've operated for some time now. We would like for you to look at the complaints that we're not getting, or the way that we're running the business, and for us to review the time again. And I think that's more appropriate at this time, and I would go with the recommended decision.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Chong.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing. And for starters, I'll say I totally concur with everything that's been said on the panel, so I think it's pretty clear where we're going here. But just want to add kind of, let's call it a public service announcement for anyone who would be considering opening a business in the city, buying a business, buying property, signing a lease, doing these sort of things. And bless you, I mean, I love the entrepreneurial spirit, and love small business, and love doing anything we can do to try and help small businesses be successful in the city. There's nothing I'd like to see more. The public service announcement is to say, do your due diligence before you sign the lease. If you need some certain entitlements, make sure they're in place, or make sure that you have conditions in your arrangement to have the time to make sure you get them before you close escrow and own the property, before you sign the lease, before you buy the business. Check it out. Don't rely on hearsay that there once was some business down the street kind of like this that was doing what you kind of sort of thought you could do. Take the time and effort to come meet with staff ahead of time. Really check things out and make sure property is zoned correctly, has the proper entitlements in place, and so forth, before you get yourself committed to and invested into a deal, and then come back begging for forgiveness or for permission to do something that's not allowed in certain areas, but may very well have been allowed in other areas of the city.
Just one last thing.
Go ahead.
If it wasn't the Type 41 license that's involved, I probably would go for the later hours, because after the meeting today, I'm going to have a hard time trying to find a place to eat. But because of the Type 41 license, I'd like for the city to have an opportunity to take a look at how it's going to be operated under those conditions.
Yeah, I would just like to add, too, that as Mr. Jones said, and I mentioned earlier, too, that if you're going into business and the make or break point is whether or not you get a liquor license, it may be well to avoid that type of business, or or look into one that's a little bit more successful without that crutch, because if you don't have it to begin with and you need it to succeed, you're going to fail. Okay, call for the vote.
Are we voting yes to uphold the,
Yes to deny the appeal,
yeah, okay.
and therefore uphold the Planning Commission decision.
And adopt the resolution.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, commission committee matters. Appointment,
To fill the vacancy on the Garden Grove Housing Authority Commission?
do we have the name here? Okay. Okay,
Looks
give
like you
us,
have a Carol Beckles is the nominee.
Okay, so you need a motion to accept or
Yes.
appoint?
Second.
We have a motion, second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Items for consideration.
Mr. Mayor, your item is to consider award of contract to Bureau? It's with Virtus Virtus North America. And Keith Jones is here to give a report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel. The Garden Grove Booster Pump and Well Facility Number 22 was built in 1970 and is a primary water supply for the west end of Garden Grove. The Water Master Plan has identified the West Garden Grove Booster Pumping and Well 22 facility as one of the highest priority facilities to have its old and outdated pump engines replaced and to have its well evaluated and redeveloped. And the project will be designed and constructed in fiscal year 2010, 2011. There were 6 firms that were consulted to submit proposals, 4 submitted, and out of that, Bureau of Veritas was rated the highest on its ability to provide professional services for the project. Financially, there's no impact to the general fund, and so staff is recommending that the award the contract for professional engineering services to Bureau of Veritas North America Incorporated in the amount of $385,240 for the West Garden Grove Booster Pump engine replacement and Well 22 rehabilitation project, and authorize the city manager to sign and execute the professional service agreement on behalf of the city. And that concludes my report. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
Move the issue.
Motion second, call for the vote. Ordinances, I'm sorry, go ahead, you need to count.
I need 2 more votes.
Okay. Who's missing?
Councilmember Broadwater. Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Thank you. Ordinance is presented for second reading.
Mr. Mayor, first ordinance is ordinance number 2789, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove approving Plan Unit Development Number PUD 12610, enacting a new Plan Unit Development and zoning regulations for property currently zoned Plan Unit Development Number PUD 12198 and R17 Single Family Residential.
Move approved.
Second.
Okay, motion second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, matters from the mayor.
Oh, you got one more ordinance.
I'm sorry.
That's ordinance number
1082, yes, go ahead.
2790, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Grove adopting development agreement number DA 18310 between the City of Garden Grove and Garden Grove MXD, Inc.
Move approval.
Got a motion second, call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, matters 11A, Public Safety Master Plan update.
Yes, please.
Mayor and council members, a few months ago, we voted to move ahead to the next phase of our planning for the public safety master plan. And it's been probably close to 7 months now. So what I asked the city manager to do is to report back to us on where we're at and the level of funding we still have for the project and what is the anticipated time for the next phase for the master plan. So with that, Mr. Fertel, if you can proceed.
Councilman Doe and members of the council, prior to the adoption of the current budget, we did have authorization to move forward with the next phase of the Public Safety Master Plan, which was the development of construction drawings for both the new fire station headquarters, and the remodel of the police facility. I think that total cost was approximately $1 million or thereabouts. As we were putting together the budget for this current year, we were looking at several reductions in staffing, including public safety positions. The money that was available to do the construction drawings came out of Prop 172 monies, which historically we have used for non-personnel expenditures in public safety, usually equipment or programming. But due to the likelihood that we would have to eliminate several police positions, the decision was made to use the Prop 172 money for staff. We had not done that before, and defer using the money for the construction drawings. So that's what the decision was in the current budget, was to reallocate those dollars for police staffing, with the expectation that we would look at how things are progressing in this current year. We are expecting to finalize a mid-year assessment of the city budget and the city finances and determine whether or not there is any improvement in the city's revenues that we might be able to then reallocate monies towards the preparation of these drawings. In discussions with the finance director, we anticipate being able to share those numbers with you probably at the next council meeting to determine what the financial position of the city is and whether or not there's adequate funds to move forward with those drawings.
Is it possible to proceed with a part of the drawing phase of this project?
That will be one of the options presented. Again, the contract and the award was for both police and fire to occur at the same time. There would be some cost savings if we did a single contract, but we could break out the contract and do the construction drawings for the fire station first, which would be a significant reduction in the monies needed at this time. So that will be one of the options that will be presented for you.
So given that we don't have the numbers to really focus out the discussion on, Mayor, if I can we re-agendize this for whenever that you will present the numbers to us, the budgetary numbers?
Certainly.
Yeah.
Sure.
You mean a study session?
I'm sorry?
Do you mean a study session?
Well, no. Just come back just like council matters, just like now. But at that point, hopefully we will have the mid-year report
Budget.
on our finances.
Yeah, the only clarification would be if we present those, the mid-year numbers in a study session, and at which time we could have the discussion.
Because I think it would take a long time, wouldn't it?
Well, that's a good idea. Okay, we can do it as part of a study session if you're going to
Yeah.
be doing
Okay,
it.
and then
there.
alternatives we're looking at, or that are possible
That
at
are
that
possible,
time?
yeah. So again, we'll shoot for 2 weeks from today in a study session setting where we can update the council on the mid-year budget and have a follow-up discussion regarding this matter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fattel.
Do we need a vote? No.
Okay, Mr. Broadwater.
Oh, this matters. Okay. 7 or 8 years ago, we formed a field report writing unit. Excuse me. A field report writing unit where we had civilians come in and work on the police department, and they actually went out and made accident reports instead of the police officers doing it. And what we've got out of that, we felt that we would put our policemen back on fighting crime rather than doing accident reports. I really didn't know until just the other day how that worked out. But I was coming up one of the streets in our city, and this guy decided he was going to have to redecorate the back of my truck. And it was a Lexus. Boy, he did my truck some damage, but boy, what he did to his own car was a disaster. Always, watch out who you're going to tangle with. But anyway, we called the police. The fellow didn't have a driver's license with him, and that sort of bothered me. So we called the police, and a young lady by the name of Tiffany Carsham Room came out and did the report, and she went and found the guy's license number on the computer in the police car right away, and at least that relieved me that he didn't have a driver's license. But she was very, very knowledgeable about what she was doing, and she just did a great job. I'm just delighted in what we did 7 or 8 years ago. I had never seen in action before, and I hope I don't see it again. But what I understood since then, I've talked to a few people, was that the quality of the police reports has increased, which is a good thing. So it puts our guys back on the street, and it certainly gives the people of our community a better quality police report when they need one.
Thank you. Ms. Nguyen.
Yes. Today we did a study session regarding the redevelopment agency. I don't know how the redevelopment agency is working for other cities, but I know for our city it has been very instrumental during this time of economic crisis, and we used a lot of money from redevelopment agency to make up for the deficit that we have in the general funds. And so it's been good to the residents of Garden Grove. If possible, if you could write to the governor and ask that that he would not support the proposal to take away redevelopment funds from the city, that would be great. The city is doing its own job in doing that, and especially the mayor has written to the governor regarding that. A lot of citizens may not understand the purpose and the role of the redevelopment agency in Garden Grove specifically. If you want to understand more, you can contact any of the city council members or the staff. Secondly, I want to remind everyone again to buy in Garden Grove. It's a campaign that we all should support to support our local residents and keep the revenue in the city. And the staff has made up a logo for that now. It's BIG, B-I-G-G. I like that. Also, Happy New Year's for those who celebrate Lunar New Year. I had the opportunity to go to the Tet Parade in the city of Westminster, and also the Tet Festival in the city of Garden Grove at Garden Grove Park. And for me, the Tet event is a good event for all of us to come together as a community to enjoy the different cultures and meet each other and understand each other more, since we live in one city and we work together as one city. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
I don't have anything to add. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Doe.
I want to echo what Council Member Nguyen just said. That it was a glorious morning. We celebrated Tet, and all 5 of the council members were there in both the parade and on stage at the festival. And I think Garden Grove being a city of festivals, we celebrate all the different cultures we have, the diversity, and we should be very proud that that is part of our heritage. And I'm proud that we are home to the Tet Festival. It was a huge success. There was a huge crowd walking out. I noticed it's probably more crowded than I have ever seen it before. And I want to go back to the item on the liquor license earlier. Tonight should really give people, especially young people watching this, perhaps as part of their civics class, a lot of assurance that government is transparent and that we really seek at the end of the day to do the right thing. And what you see here is an even-handed application of law and policy, and that's all I think we can expect from government. We don't have to always agree. That's representative democracy is what we have, and that's that's the system we have. As long as it's even-handedly applied, and the reasoning and the rationale makes sense, that's what it's all about. And I think that's what we see tonight. So kudos to the police department. I think they did a good job in presenting their case. Thank you.
Thank you. Tonight, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Actually, there's 3 different people that have passed away. One of them that I think Peggy had mentioned, Gail Edens, Gail Edens? Yes, that had been a volunteer and a help person over at the senior center and with around the city of Garden Grove. And she was in her 80s? 86 or 87. You know, it sometimes seems that the people that we're remembering have lived long lives, and I guess it's probably because of the kind of people they are. They help a lot of other people as opposed to just helping themselves. So I would definitely like to adjourn the meeting in her honor. And again, as I said, there's 2 other people, and I have some lengthy information about them that I think it's important, and I'm going to take the time to read it. Okay, the second person is Barney Adams. Barney was born on April 23, 1923 in Miami, Arizona, where he lived until his graduation from high school. He later moved to Long Beach, California to work for Douglas Aircraft. In 1943, he went into the U.S. Air Force, holding the rank of Staff Sergeant, serving as an aerial gunner on B-29s, operating from the island of Tinian in the Marianas Islands. In 1947, he married the love of his life and his companion for 63 years, Margot. They raised 3 children, Stephen, Mark, and Jeanette, in the home he personally designed and built in Garden Grove. In 1950, he graduated from California State Poly College in the school's first engineering graduate class. He worked for several architectural firms, including the Orange County Building Department. On December 2, 1956, he joined the newly incorporated city of Garden Grove to establish the city's building director and served as the first building and safety director. His first task was to repair and remodel the former 1924 Fitz Elementary School building, then serving as Garden Grove City Hall. It was a huge undertaking considering the 1933 Long Beach earthquake and stricter building codes. In 1963, he left the city to open his own engineering firm in Garden Grove, B.C. Adams Engineering. The firm would stay in business for the next 50 years. In 1970, he was elected to the Garden Grove City Council. In 1972, he made Garden Grove history by becoming the first elected mayor of Garden Grove, gaining re-election in 1974. He served as mayor until 1976. Up until then, mayors were named by the current city council members rather than by popular vote. He dedicated much of his post-mayoral years to serving in community and professional organizations. On January 27, 2011, at the age of 87, Barney peaceably passed away in his sleep at his home. He was a man of several firsts who loved helping others as much as he enjoyed boating, fishing, and dancing. He had an incredible sense of humor and an immense devotion to his family and his community. He is survived by his daughter Jeanette, 4 grandchildren, and his sister Yvonne. The city of Garden Grove expresses deepest condolences to his family and wishes him eternal peace in heaven. And the last person that I would like to mention is William Beckman. Born May 16, 1921 in St. Louis, Missouri, he passed away January 25, 2011 at his home in Garden Grove. Bill is survived by his 7 sons, Bill and his wife Jan, Tom, his wife Linda, Chuck and his wife Cheryl, Gary and his wife Grace, Joe and his wife June, Larry and his wife Kathy, and Richard and his wife Lois. They had 1 daughter. Boy, figure that out, huh? All those boys and 1 girl. The daughter Mary Beckman Kennedy of Yorba Linda. He had 23 grandchildren, 17 great-grandchildren. He was born the 4th of 8 children. He enlisted in the Navy. This is really interesting. He enlisted in the Navy in August 1940. On Sunday morning, December 7th, 1941, he was on the deck of the USS Helena when he heard explosions and a general alarm. He proceeded directly to his battle station. Had he hesitated a minute, he might have been one of the 20 who died when a torpedo hit the Helena. 19 months later, July 5th and 6th, 1943, he was aboard the repaired USS Helena in the South Pacific in the Battle of Kula Gulf. The Helena was sunk and 168 sailors were killed, but he survived. After the war, on October 22, 1946, while on leave from the U.S. Navy, Bill met his future bride, Catherine Westis, Kay. They were married on August 7, 1948. By October 1958, Bill and Kay had 8 children. Bill and Kay moved to Garden Grove in 1955, and in August 1960, he retired from the Navy as a Chief Petty Officer. Shortly after that, he started his second career as a mailman working for the post office in Garden Grove. Upon retiring in 1976, he began working part-time at Anaheim Stadium as a parking lot cashier, which turned out to be the dream job of sorts, as he met several managers, coaches, players, and scouts. He also got the chance to watch many baseball games, and even in the lean years of Angels baseball, became an avid Angels fan. He was active in the parish of St. Columban's since they were here. He chaired the parish carnival, was president of the school, an usher, a lector, and all these other things that he was always there to help. Bill and Kay shared their life and their faith with all, and now they're together in heaven. I'll tell you, knowing him, you've heard me say it before, and it almost sounds a little bit rote, but it's not. I mean, some of these people that we're talking about that we've had the opportunity to touch during our lifetime are just such wonderful people. I mean, that they're there to help people. They're there in the good times and the bad times, and there's just, unfortunately, too many of them passing along. But so my prayers and my condolences go out to the Beckman family. They had a wonderful man, and they had him for many years in their family, so that's a good role model for them and their children. At this time, we'll adjourn the meeting until Tuesday, February 22nd, 5:30 p.m. in the council chambers.